Initiative is an important concept in The Walking Dead All-Out War. It dictates who goes first in each phase of the game, and often who resolves certain events and special situations. In the first turn of the game, the scenario rules will inform you which side has initiative, and that player should place the initiative counter next to their survivor cards as a visual reminder. Initiative will then alter between players in the end phase of each turn. The turn sequence is made up of 4 phases: the action phase, event phase, melee phase, and the end phase. We will discuss each of those in detail. The action phase is where all of the important maneuvering and actions take place: moving, shooting, searching for supplies. Beginning with the player who has initiative, players take it in turns to activate one of their survivors. If one side has more models than the other, all excess models are activated at the end of the phase by their owning player, one at a time until every model that can act has done so. Each survivor can only act once per turn. If a model is engaged in melee by an enemy model or walker moving into base contact with it, before it has a chance to act, then it may not be activated in this phase. When activated, every survivor model can perform 2 different actions, in any order. Once a model has been activated, place an activation counter on its survivor card to remind you that it has acted this turn. Unless it is engaged in melee or is panicking, when activated, a survivor model can perform up to 2 actions in any order. You may not perform the same action twice in one activation, so you may not move twice or shoot twice, for example, but you may move and shoot. The actions are move, shoot, search, hide, stand up, hold your nerve, swap item, make noise, and special action. Note that if any rule, such as panic, requires a character to perform a special action, that action will count as one of its 2 for the turn unless specified otherwise. Prone models. Some rules will refer to prone models. This means that the model is lying down and should be laid on its side. A prone survivor can only perform move, but only at sneak or stand-up actions. During a move action, each model must choose to sneak or run using the distances listed on the ruler. A model may choose to sneak with a max distance of 4 inches, or a model may choose to run with a max distance of 8 inches, which also creates noise. A model does not have to move the entire distance indicated for the chosen move. It can stop short if you wish. Survivors do not have to move in a straight line. They can move in any direction as long as their total movement does not exceed the distance of the type of move action they are performing. Survivors may not move through other models, friend or foe. A model may not move into base contact with an enemy, either walker or survivor, unless it wishes to fight them in melee later. Otherwise, keep enemy models at least 1 inch away from each other to be clear. As soon as base contact is made, the model is engaged in melee and its activation ends. Barriers and cars may be moved over as part of a survivor's movement, as long as it has enough movement to fit its base on the other side. This requires a climb test. You may only climb across the narrow width of the scenery, not across its length. To make a climb test, roll the black action die. A sheriff's badge means the climb is successful. Place the model on the other side of the scenery and continue moving if able. A blank means the model has failed the climb and remains in place and his move action ends. The model may not end its move on top of a barrier or a car. Models with the runner character type automatically pass a climb test and do not need to roll. Walkers cannot move across cars or barriers. If a survivor has a ranged weapon equipment card equipped, it can use a shoot action to fire a weapon at an enemy model that is within line of sight and within range. To check line of sight, simply draw an imaginary straight line from the center of the shooter's base to the center of the target's base. If another standing model's base breaks that line, the target is obscured and cannot be shot. Otherwise, the target can be seen and shot out. Scenery does not block line of sight unless the target is prone behind it, although it does provide cover. Range is measured from the edge of the shooter's base to the nearest edge of the enemy's base. In this example, Rick takes aim at Derek. The path of the shot crosses a car, and as such, Derek is behind cover. If Carl takes the shot, however, the line of sight is clear, and Derek cannot claim cover. Rick's line of sight to the walker is blocked by Carl, so Rick would have to move first if he wanted to take this shot. Neither Rick nor Carl can see Sandra as she is lying prone behind the car and line of sight is therefore blocked. Once you've decided on a target, it's time to make your attack roll. Simply take the dice listed on the weapon card, add the dice from the survivor's shoot value, and roll them together, counting up the total number of successes. The target model then makes the defense roll. Take the dice listed under his defense value, any bonuses from equipment cards, cover, or other special rules, and roll them all together. Count up the total number of successes. Compare the dice for each roll. If the attack roll has more successes than the target's defense roll, the target has been wounded. If the scores are equal or the defense roll has more successes, there's no effect. In this example, we see that Carl has scored 3 successes plus a critical hit. Derek has scored 1 success, difference being 2 successes plus a critical. Critical hits on survivors will add 1 additional damage, making 3 total damage to Derek. Had Carl been shooting at a walker and had beaten the walker with any number of successes, the walker would be laying prone. If there was a critical success, that is considered a headshot, and that would have killed the walker would be removed from the board. Anytime a critical success is scored with a ranged weapon, you must roll the black action die to determine whether or not you run out of ammo. On a shield symbol, everything is fine. On a blank, you have run out of ammo. Turn that weapon card over, and you may not use it again until more ammo is found. In this example, we see that Carl has scored 3 successes plus a critical hit. Derek has scored 1 success, difference being 2 successes plus a critical. Critical hits on survivors will add 1 additional damage, making 3 total damage to Derek. Had Carl been shooting at a walker and had beaten the walker with any number of successes, the walker would be laying prone. If there was a critical success, that is considered a headshot, and that would have killed the walker would be removed from the board. Anytime a critical success is scored with a ranged weapon, you must roll the black action die to determine whether or not you run out of ammo. On a shield symbol, everything is fine. On a blank, you have run out of ammo. Turn that weapon card over, and you may not use it again until more ammo is found. Any survivor model in base contact with a supply counter and not engaged in melee with an enemy may search for supplies. A model cannot search if there is an unengaged enemy model also in base contact with the counter or the scenery that the counter is inside. Draw the top card from the supply deck. If it is an item, the survivor may put it into their free item slots or swap it with an item they already hold. It is treated exactly like an equipment card. Any items that they do not have space for or choose not to take are discarded. If the card is an incident, then the instructions on the card must be applied immediately. Once the search has been resolved, remove the supply counter from the board and place it on the survivor's card. It does not take up an item slot. Supply counters that have already been searched or have been dropped after the death of a survivor are placed with the searched facing up. These counters will not allow players to draw another supply card when searched. No matter how many counters a survivor is in contact with, you may only search once per action. In some situations, a model may rather duck behind cover than do anything else, even if it leaves them exposed to attack later. A model may hide if there are no enemies within their kill zone and it is in base contact with a scenery piece. This may provide cover from shooting attacks. If a model wishes to hide, it becomes prone. It may attempt to stand up during its next activation phase if you wish. A prone model may stand up by spending an action. Stand the model upright and it may then act normally. The model rolls the black action die. On a success, reduce the current threat level by 1. This action cannot be attempted by a panicking model. Models with the tactician character type automatically reduce the threat level by 1 and do not need to roll. The swap items action allows the survivor to rearrange the equipment cards they are currently carrying, moving weapons, armor, and items from their pack to usable armor item slots and vice versa. Any number of cards can be swapped as a single action. The model may give any of its equipment cards to any friendly model within its kill zone. The survivor jumps up and down, waves their arms about, and shouts to attract attention. The model makes noise. Some models are able to use special rules as an action, or have access to unusual items or equipment that require a special action to use. Unless stated otherwise, items that allow special actions must be equipped for the action to be used.